we're all been laughing. I'm sorry. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our stream. People are trash, and we'll show you how in the next 3 hours. Welcome to my TED Talk. I apologise. I am quite overtired this week. I've been doing a lot of prep for our Kickstarter in a couple of weeks. I'm quite anxious about this episode, mainly because we have Susanna back. Hello.
Hi, sorry, I was muted. I wasn't ready.
That's okay.
Hi, I'm back.
I know. I kind of jumped straight in. How have you been? You've been away, right? I've talked to you since then, but you haven't been on my channel, I think, since that. How's that?
I have not. I went to the Great White North. I was in Canada. It was very good. I ate a lot of food. Drank a lot of Tim Hortons.
Nice.
It's good. It's good.
Cool.
Getting back into it ever since, streaming nonstop. So yeah, if you're not sick of me yet, I'm back here again.
Wow. Fair play. And Myria is currently, I guess, with her uncle.
Yeah, I guess. I hope. I hope that he still got her and didn't just go, fuck, and eat her off a mountain once he realised what he'd done.
How to provide some angst to your players before the session. A masterclass 101. No, we're good. All right, cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how she reacts to all that. So
me too.
We'll see, I guess. And Jason, you're back with us. How are you doing, my friend?
Can't get rid of me. Yeah, doing pretty okay. Tired like the rest of humanity, I guess, at this point in time.
That's a move.
Just happy to be back and happy to be here and hopefully gonna have some fun. I don't know how else to say it, but yeah, some fun will be had, hopefully.
Yeah. Some juicy fruits.
Yeah.
Not sour fruits. We don't want sour fruits. We want juicy fruits. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of sour and juicy fruits, how are you doing, Virginia?
I'm better now.
Good. We've had a rant. We're all good.
Had a rant about awful people.
Bon appetit. Lovely.
Bon appetit. Oh, I'm in this picture and I don't like it, Sam.
Lovely. Sorry we're just talking in memes at people. I think we're all a bit tired.
It's been a long week.
we've had a beer. We're a bit tired. Who knows what could happen in the next 3 hours? I might just throw my notes away and see. Yeah, some sass. Well, there we go. So these three lovely people with us. This is our Game of Thrones stream. It's a tabletop role-playing game from Greenmont. We are playing 100 years before the books have been set. So this is just after the first Blackfyre rebellion, and it's a bit like Brexit. There's a bit of kind of fallout on both sides because the whole realms have been split into two. Brothers fighting sisters, parents fighting siblings, and all that kind of crazy stuff. So yeah. So it should be lots of cool action as we follow the three remaining Greenmont children I got reminded today. So that was cool. What happened to you, Susie?
Just my webcam's freaking out.
Just the mist descended. I don't know. Cool.
I've passed it on from mine, Susie. The curse has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I would rather it didn't.
All right.
I don't make the rules.
That was fair. All right, let's do some funky announcements. So, as of last week, you can start interacting with the show. If you donate me 300 bits, you can give a bonus dice to somebody. So, in this game, you roll a pool of 6-sided dice, and you keep some, and you lose a few. So, if you're rolling 6, you keep 4. It basically means that you lose the 2 lowest numbers, which helps you out on your actual total for the dice roll. So you can award some bonus dice to people if you want to give us 300 bits. If you want to give me 500 bits, you can award someone a test die. So that's a die that they get to keep at the end and add to their total. And then for 1,500 bits, you can give one of these lovely people a destiny point. And that means that they could either cheat death like Alfred last week, or they could buy a benefit, or they could spend it or burn it for all sorts of cool, useful stuff too. And I'm excited to say that Black Hats Gaming, for which I am one of 2 members, has a Discord now. And I'm about to link you to the funky Discord right here now. This is a link live for 24 hours. It will get you access to our Discord server, and you will be able to check out all the screams we send each other about the game week on week. We're also going to have some information about the spy game up there as well, which is the Kickstarter that's coming from us in a couple of weeks that I'm going to probably chat to you at some point soon later this evening. and there's lots of cool people in it already because we had a little kind of like a 1-day beta test, I guess, and everyone was lovely. So we're carrying it on. Wonderfully curated by Charlie, unofficially, I think. She's been doing a lot of work for it behind the scenes. I'm very appreciative. Thank you very much, Charlie. You can have a bonus dice next week. You keep to that. Yeah, and you can also catch up on YouTube. We've got a playlist of all the previous episodes up on there. I don't think I've done last week's yet, but that will go up pretty shortly too. And what else have I got to say? I even wrote this down. And we have a wiki, which has all the info about the characters and the house and all the stuff. So if you get lost, then you should be able to find out more information on the wiki that I've just linked into chat too. So that's all the stuff there too. So yeah, I mentioned the spy game. It's a cool, exciting new 5e game that Black Cats Gaming's releasing. I am Black Cat, so is James in chat. And that is going to be launching on the 2nd of July, just a couple of weeks from now. So if you fancy a bit of modern 5e international espionage and intrigue, then check us out. Either follow me at RPGWebby or follow Black Cats on Twitter or head over to blackcatsgaming.com. Professional streamer. All right. Man, am I tired. Right, let's do it. This episode 8 of 10.
10.
10.
Only 10. Yes,
10,
only 10.
10 in one season, and then we'll have a little like one. Sam needs a break. We'll have like a 1 week break, and then we'll come back. If you're all still up for it. Episode 8. Episode 8 is entitled "Our Roots Go Deep." Looking at you, Virginia. All right, Simon, we're going to start with you. The three singers look almost joyous. 3 great weirwood trees, their mouths hung open as if in choral song. They look upon each other in a loose triangle that forms a small, well-kept green. The Godswood is much better kept than any you've seen before. They're normally allowed to become quite overgrown, slightly wild and fallow, but this Godswood is a landscaped beauty of budding flower beds, rose bushes, and well-kept cut grass. The peppery aroma of evergreen herb bushes that must have been tended to over the winter provide a natural comfort. As you look down at the flowers waiting for Lady Redwine, the only flowers beginning to show this early in spring are the forget-me-nots, pushing through the other plants. Maester, you hear her say behind you as Lady Redwine steps forward from the direction of another entrance into the garden on the north side.
My lady, I'll just keep looking at the flowers.
There's not much to look at. Yet.
More than you might know.
She touches and follows the vines of a rose bush that's starting to grow up one side of one of the 3-singer weirwood trees. Just touching the thorns, just pricking her finger on them just to check them. And I would like you to roll a status brooding check for me, please. We're going to dive right into this today.
All right, dropping 1 because flaw in status. So that's
that's
2d6.
the one. Just checking what she... Nothing for this.
10.
Oh, so I'm going to roll.
One of my stronger rolls.
Nice. Okay.
Not that strong.
19. She is the master.
Yeah.
She is the Lord of Whispers, to be fair.
Fair.
For you folks who aren't in the scene, will have to shout at me if we get some dice. I think James sent me a bonus dice earlier. So
Yes, he did.
He did.
Come a bit earlier. I've already got 2. You don't need more. Okay. Jason, did you keep any over from last session? I haven't checked the VOD.
I did not.
Okay. I think everyone spent theirs. So help these guys out. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So she is going to go first. I'm going to move this first kind of entry pretty quick. She asks you a little bit more about what you meant last night. She's particularly interested to hear about how you've cast aside your chain and what the story basically is. So I'm just going to roll for that. Oh, I didn't actually do this, did I?
What technique would she be using in this case?
I won't tell you the technique, but the action is going to be influence.
Okay.
If you read target, then you'll be able to tell what technique she's been using.
Right. Sorry, I meant action.
Yeah, sure. No worries. So this will be an influence. I want you to quickly think about your disposition rating towards her. Bear in mind that you just met her last night in game, so I don't think there was actually any particular outcomes of any kind of intrigue from last time.
No.
You guys were just chatting, so there won't be any modifiers here, apart from the fact that she is bastard born, so that would shift your disposition down by 1, as per the modifiers.
All right, I know what I'm at.
Sweet, perfect. All right, and your objective for meeting her today, have that in mind too, and that should then inform your actions and your techniques. Okie dokie. What is your status? Rank?
My status is 3.
Okay, cool. It's no secret that she's got bastard born as a quality, so I just needed to check that. Okay, it's against your intrigue defense. 8.
No.
Okay. Over to you.
All right. I'll give passing answers. Nothing too straightforward, and nothing too revealing. I'm more interested in her current situation. So Symon would weave in just as she's sort of prodding with, these things. I cast them off because they no longer suited me. I wanted to be in a place that was familiar, with people that were familiar as well. Lady Desmera, I've heard much of your exploits, but I wonder what usances you might have for a man such as myself. And I'll take the consider action.
Okay.
I want to see what she's got on the table.
She says that depends on what kind of man stands before me. How is it that you are so familiar with Highgarden? If you have been cooped up in the Citadel for, I would say by looking at you, 5-10 years. And I am... actually, she's going to go on to say, I am the Lord of Whispers. Do you not believe I could find your story from the streets of Old Town, or the sailors of its docks? And she is going to use Shield Reputation. So this, just reminding myself, status versus your passive will result. Dedication bonus dice will apply if you have them. What I'm going to do is apply reputation to this. Okay. Okay, no modifier else for there. So this against passive will, so whatever your will rank is times by 4.
My passive will is an 8.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So your disposition towards her is improved by 1 step.
Perfectly fine.
And it's your turn.
I've no doubt of your abilities. I've heard tell of your techniques, and indeed of your victims. I'm impressed. And yet, ponderous. You could find my story. And yet you have not. Perhaps your present company, whatever little weeds you sow, do not have roots that grow as deep as you might think.
An oak heart, then, she posits towards you.
I traveled with them, of course. But they are not of my blood. And I am not of theirs, thankfully. At this point, I want to use...
That's all right. You can talk it out with me if you need to.
Yeah, I want to use the... Okay, I know I want to use the influence technique.
Sure.
Or, excuse me, the influence action.
Yeah.
And I think for this one, I want to use charm.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. As I have gotten rid of Lascivious, I can do that as my first action.
Yeah.
I'll circle around her, arms in robe, and just sort of thoughtfully stepping. I'm not some enigma that you need to solve. I'm a friend. Well, an ally at the very least, in a time when I dare say such relationships are necessary.
Such relationships are always necessary. It's quite often that the enemy will come to their enemy as an ally.
But who would I serve that is your enemy?
She goes back to playing with the vines of the rosebush. It's your action, right?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So roll that charm for me. 2 bonus dice as well. You've got for the consider action.
All right. So persuasion of 3. So roll
5.
5 6. Keep 3.
Yeah. Against her intrigue defense.
Whoa! Yikes!
Nope.
Not fun.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I figured. Worth a shot.
She's going to take the consider action, and she remains playing with the rosebush. You got another chance, basically.
Okay. I had a question.
Yeah.
For the insight technique.
Yeah.
That would be forcing her to make a decision, right?
Insight's basically like, look at that guy over there. He likes something you don't like. It's like it's setting people against each other.
Even better. And who would be your enemy? The Lord Peak? The Lord Costain? I hear whispers. Surely you must hear them as well. You are their lord, after all. Or their lady. Whichever you would prefer.
I hear a great many things.
So why not act upon them? What bars you, who serves at the pleasure of Lord Leo Tyrell, Grand Marshal of the Reach? What bars you to inaction? You, who took your name from your own father. You, who have risen to a station that many only dream of. And yet you halt. You falter. When even at the court, this very morning, they called for the reinstitution of, what, rangers? Some sort of patrol to be mustered along our southern borders? Such divisions can only prove harmful. We've just put out the Blackfyres. Are we to sow such seeds in the ash?
All right, make that taunt roll for me. Grab yourself 2 more bonus dice for that.
Thank you, thank you. Now, with insight, that was cunning rank, yes?
So if you succeed against her intrigue defense, then you will be your actual influence damage will come off awareness.
From awareness.
Oh no, sorry, that was taunt. Insight, cunning. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure on that. So it's still a persuasion roll. So 5d6 keeping 3.
Yeah. So if it's persuasion, it's insight bonus dice. If it's deception, it's bluff bonus dice.
Persuasion.
Yeah.
14.
Yes, 1 degree of success.
That would be 4 points of damage. Cunning.
Alrighty. Cool. She steps forward up towards you.
Straighten up.
And she says, "This isn't original. You know. Offers like this, as flagrant as this, come to me from time to time. You know what that tells me about that person?
Something terrible, I'm sure.
Something terrible about their ability. And I'm going to roll. $16.
Yikes. Yep. Well, wait a minute. This is
against your intrigue defense.
Yeah, I've got a 10 in that, so
2 degrees of success.
Yikes.
You are going to take 6 influence.
I will now take a point of frustration.
Okay. Remember to take off your DR from that.
Oh, yes. That's correct. Excuse me. So what was it? 6?
Yeah, 6 total. So reduce that by your DR, and then apply it to your composure.
Okay.
And remember, every point of frustration you take will, for you, will take off 2. Well, will soak another 2 or more of those influence.
I'm going to actually take the damage and reduce it by the DR. And also, I'm going to, for my action, I'm assuming?
Yep.
I'm going to shift my disposition down.
Okay.
Back to where it was. Or actually...
It's the top of the round.
Yeah.
I don't mind you doing it now, to be honest, because we haven't really seen it much, so...
Yeah. I know where I'm at.
Sure.
And... or... No, not down. Excuse me. Up.
Okay.
You know, in my time at the Citadel, I was well versed in histories and legends. I know that the past can inform the future, to a certain degree, of course. But never with the novel. Do you mean to tell me that so many maesters have come before you, on bended knee, pleading to be with you in service? Do you mean to tell me that they have all cast aside their chains to serve who they desire to serve? I offer you a mind that was molded by some of the greatest in this and any other kingdom. And yet I'm regarded with suspicion? I admit, my station does not hold a candle to yours. But why make enemies when you might make friends? Gonna go with another thing of charm. This is influence with charm.
Jason, give yourself some 3 bonus dice for some of the juiciest fruits so far. This was good. Susie, don't make a face. That was some good fruit.
No, that was real fucking good.
So 66?
Yeah.
Keeping 3? God, please work. 10. Or wait. No, 10.
Add your modifier.
I did. 10.
No, mate. That was... Oh, man. Yeah. Okay. Okay. She is going to yield, offering a compromised outcome rather than going down in defeat. She is going to offer you the chance to prove yourself.
That is all that I ask. And what might you have in return, Lady Redwine?
My vines extend all over this kingdom, so whatever you wish within reason and my ability.
And to see such a glorious garden, what would be the price I would have to pay?
44 tons. She turns, she walks away, and with a swish of her long robe, kind of burgundy, red wine coloured. It's almost like a winter's coat, as the spring still hasn't quite borne out the hot weather. She says, "You'll see soon enough," and she walks off back through the exit on the north side.
Do I get the impression she knows who I am?
You don't get the impression either way, so I'll leave that up to you.
I don't know if she knows, but I'm certain she's wanting to find out now.
Sure. Okie dokie. Myria. Groggy and slow, you begin to wake. And as you open your eyes to the rolling hills of the Stormlands, you feel your stomach drop as the uneasy feeling of not knowing where you are engulfs you. The seconds between sleeping and waking, before your memories return of that night in the interrogation chair, are agonizing ones. Not remembering where you are or who you're with. Half expecting to wake next to Lyra and Joy in the girls' quarters, you are met with rough ground, the sun hanging low in the sky, and the hunched figure of your uncle, sat with his head in his hands, rubbing his forehead. You suddenly notice how cold you are on this muddy floor. and how little you have in the way of coverings for sleep. Lord Edmund does not notice you stir as he moves between checking for pursuers and his grief. You're both nestled in a patch of brambles, in a shallow dip in the ground, a good spot away from any main paths or tracks through this light woodland. Lord Edmund wears little of his house colours now, having stripped away his hard leathers down to layers of soft leather and arming jacket. What would you like to do?
So I'm on the hard ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gonna stay quiet as I'm getting my bearings, looking around, noticing my uncle. I'll like reach, try and find, like, there's gotta be like stones on the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna very quietly just take one into my hand, just in case, and hold on to it.
You managed to find a spiky one, someone that's been chipped.
Just gonna hold on to that. And she would say quietly, because she gets the feeling that they're kind of hiding off the road at this point. She said, "Uncle."
He spins round, eyes intent, and then finds himself again, ducks down, half crawls towards you, and says, "Oh, Myria, you're awake, are you okay?" And he goes to hug you.
I think she sort of draws back from him.
He takes that cue, he pauses, he looks at you and lowers his arms.
And she definitely has a look of fear on her face. She doesn't know where she is. You know, she's on the cold ground. She's alone. What happened?
Do you remember?
I remember parts. Why?
I rescued you from that. And with that, we had to rush away. We had to get away from that place. We are south. And I have not seen pursuers yet.
They're going to find us. They're going to find us. And then I'm dead.
Wait, no. I know this land. I know the Red Mountains. We will head back, Myria. We will head back to Blackmont.
That's the first place they'll look.
But there...
You stole me out from Summerhall. Maekar is not going to let that go. He's going to send troops.
Yes, but I am the Lord of Blackmont. I have a castle there. We can wait out this storm. There on my lands, you can tell the truth of what happened there.
You killed men in his household. You stole a ward from under him. It doesn't matter if you're a lord. He is the prince.
His eyes glaze over slightly, and you can see him taking in your words. He thinks he hears something. He pops up, he looks around again. And you wait. And there's nothing but the flutter of birds in trees. And he sets back down. I do not have an easy answer for what to do now. But we must do something. At the seat of my house, I am most powerful, and will be able to reason our case. I thought, when I first came to Summerhall, I thought that this would be fine. I thought capturing and questioning men who chosen the life of conflict is leagues away from interrogating young men and women. I see now we did more harm than good. When the bastard bitch escaped, both Lord Will and Geralt pushed harder and harder, and they forced me to interrogate you and your friends. So yes, I killed men in my charge. In my charge. Not Maker's, my men. But I could not let them hurt you. I could not stand by. It was a stupid mistake. And it has cost me dearly. And he's been right up in your face at this point, but he slowly retracts. And then just sits in a slump down next to you.
I'll drop the stone. Then what next? Where are we?
A dozen or so leagues from Summerhall. We need to move south and quickly. We will need new clothes, disguises. We will need names. You will be Elise. I will be Otto.
Oliver.
Fine. Come here. And he wants to pull you closer. He's holding out a hand as if to then kind of go behind your neck. He pulls out a knife and then grabs your hair. And unless you stop him, he begins to hack away at about here.
Oh.
Cutting away at a rough bob.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had to really, really steel myself when you were talking about cutting your hair earlier before the stream. Because I knew this was coming. So he gives you this, like, awful, like, peasant Tony and Guy job.
I reckon as her hair like drops to the ground around her, she will do like a little cry because the hair is important to a young woman.
Which I can imagine Myria being one of those kids that, like, when she started growing her hair out from like year dot, she didn't get it cut for like.
Oh no,
years.
yeah, it's like she was a proper brat when it came to like haircut time. Yeah.
He looks at you up and down at your what are now muddy and shabby noble garb, courtly clothes, and says, I do not know what to do with your clothes.
Well, and she cause the way like dresses work is like she would have like this nice courtly outer dress, but she would have like an inner shift sort of dress going on, which would look a lot more less wealthy. So she would, just I do have another underneath, but it's cold.
Let us proceed. We'll find something. And he takes you off in the direction of the Red Mountains. Mara. You wanted to set up a scene. You were telling me you wanted to speak to your husband.
I did. Sorry,
Cool.
the mute button wasn't working.
How did you want to frame that? How did you want to start that off?
So I imagine that this happens maybe the day after, when things have settled down a bit in court, and I imagine it's like in the morning when she's getting dressed, and I imagine, Alistair's quite sweet. I imagine she'd kind of get him to help her. Probably that new dress that she's probably had tailored in the time that they've settled in.
Nice, yeah.
And I imagine it'd be quite casual. She'll be sitting there getting ready, and she'll turn and say, "So I spoke to my brother. I spoke to Symon the other day. I really do apologize. It seemed he misread into a situation, and it was quite embarrassing. I hope it didn't leave you any offense."
So he's head over to the end of the quarters that you've got here, and on a desk there are essentially, it's like a loosely wrapped scroll, and he's looking over the courtly business for the day. And he is half listening, looks up and says, "Sorry, Symon."
Yes, during your lessons with him.
Mm-hmm.
He said there was some kind of misunderstanding. I apologize. My brother might have worn a maester's chains, but unfortunately he doesn't have the temperament for it.
Oh, if there was some misunderstanding, I don't know what he means.
He had it in his head that he may have been propositioned, but I think he spent far too much time in Molestown.
Right. Okay.
I just he can't be an idiot.
He half goes back to reading the scroll, half looks up at you. His eyes aren't moving over the scroll. And he looks up at you and says, I don't know what he means. Sorry.
It's fine. I was just apologizing for my brother's stupidity, and somebody so intelligent, he can sometimes have the strangest of notions.
It's no bother, really.
Does he look visibly uncomfortable here? Is that something Mara would notice?
I would like you to roll a awareness empathy test.
Okay. Oh, I actually have empathy. Well done. Virginia.
Wow.
15.
Yeah, he looks a little uncomfortable.
She will get up and go over to him, slip her arm in his, and kind of take the scroll off of him. Like, Alistair, are you sure you're okay? You look... I thought this was something that you'd perhaps laugh about, but you seem uncomfortable.
And then he laughs, and then goes to kiss you, casually, lazily, like married people do. Just it's very easy in that sense.
Does he still look uncomfortable?
No, what he's doing, if that's okay, V, is he's continuing the kiss. He's beginning to make out with you again.
She's satisfied with that.
Sure.
She kind of finishes it up, gives him a hug, and it's like, My brother does get some strange ideas, but perhaps he's just jealous because I'm allowed to get married.
Maybe. Maybe my Valyrian's a little off.
Perhaps. What did you say to him?
I don't know.
She'll say something in Valyrian to the effect of, "Oh, you, my sweet husband," in that kind of slightly pity tone, and waits to see if he understands her.
Sure, he looks at you and smiles.
She just kind of like strokes him on the arm. And
He reads a little of the scroll and actually points it in your direction, and he says, I understand this is Lord Peak, and the business he's bringing up is about the Rangers and his raids, but what is this bit? And then there's another part about just before that he's pointing to that is about Lord Merryweather, I want to say. Let me check my notes. Yeah, Merryweather. And it's actually a bit of really banal business, and it's just about kind of provisions for feasts in the upcoming few weeks.
is he asking for her advice, or?
No, he's asking you to read it.
She looks confused, but reads it.
Because it's in Valyrian.
Oh, she has a moment where
it's in Valyrian.
She reads it in Valyrian, like halfway through, and then realizes exactly what he's just meant.
Yeah.
And reads it back in the common tongue.
Okay, yeah. Cool. All right. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. And he's kind of.
James is stirring in chat.
Is he really?
300 bits for V to delve more.
I'll give you a bonus dice for that, mate. I have to copy that up. So he begins. Oh, hello. Copy. Oh, hello. That's what I wanted. Huzzah. Sorry, folks. I'm just doing my overlay. He begins to talk a little bit about Lord Peak's business in court. He seems actually quite excited about Lord Peak actually taking action against these bandits. He's got that typical kind of, bandits are all awful. The much more conservative opinion that we would expect in present day. That they're, they've never done right in life and all this kind of stuff. There's absolutely no empathy there. But he's like, it's absolutely right that Lord Peak should go and try and, attempt to quash these Dornish raiders. They've always, for hundreds of years, they've always come into our lands, taken what's not theirs, just trampled all over us, expected us to just stay up in our castles and not defend our small folk. It's cowardly. And he's actually getting quite fired up by this kind of thing.
I will straighten up a little bit, and I hope I don't have to remind you that not all of the Dornish folk support these raiders. That some of the anger between the Dornish and the Westerosi is not to do with the Dornish themselves.
No, I know, he says, and he pauses.
And perhaps considering why these Dornish raiders are raiding would be a good start. This could be anything. This could be starvation. This could be their crops failing. This could be the result of one terrible house or lord in Dorne causing problems. Besides, aside from this, we have bigger issues. That is, if you do actually care for me and the rest of my family, Alistair. But playing around with Lord Peak and his rangers, I would be careful. War only profits the people who wish to start them.
He does that soap opera thing of moving past you, going to the window, and he's gazing out the window, the open window, and he says, "Can I confess something to you, my love?"
She'll go over to him and put her hand on his back. Of course you can.
A about a man. A man I greatly admire.
Of course.
Finest man in all the Seven Kingdoms, Mara. The greatest man to wield a sword. To wield the sword. When my brother went to war, I wanted more than anything to join him and taking up his cause for the rightful king of Westeros. I never got to earn my glory that summer. Maybe I can now. Put down these Dornish raiders. And earn the Oakhearts the glory they deserve.
There's no glory in war. I lost 2 brothers because of it. For all of their glory, for all of the battles that they won, for all of the people that they killed because they thought they were on the right side, where is their glory now when they lie in their graves, Alistair?
He turns around very earnestly and says to you, you speak a lot about your brothers. And Symon, who is somehow here. But the time's going to come very soon, Mara, for you to make a choice. Are you a Greenmont? Or are you an Oakheart? And he walks out as Symon is stood in the entrance to your quarters.
My young oak.
He pays you no attention.
Oh, what foul mood befalls you?
Me, apparently. And explaining why, and she'll shout this loud enough so they can hear it down the hall, of why there is no glory in war.
Really, I had not paid any attention. I lie.
He's got his head caught up in Lord Peake's business about dealing with these Dornish raiders.
I'll switch to Valyrian. Shall we speak in confidence?
That makes no matter. I'm sure the walls have ears here that understand Valyrian.
Fair enough. I'll step into the room and just close the door.
I'm sure he'll be fine. A few hours in the training yard throwing a sword around will...
Is that in character? Please tell me that's in character.
A few hours swinging a sword around in the practice yard will make him so tired that he'll wish that war will never come.
Perhaps.
It's like all
Also,
of the men that I seem to find myself attached to enjoy getting themselves killed.
Well, I don't endeavor to do so actively.
I mean, if you could just try not to, full stop, I could do without losing another brother, Symon.
That's
I haven't had a chance to speak to the Lady Redwine yet. But I can perhaps tonight at dinner.
I'll put a hand on your shoulder. No further need. I've established a rapport with the Lady Redwine. One based in indifference and perhaps somewhat mutual distrust, but a rapport nonetheless.
How did you manage that?
Dear sister, do you think so lowly of me?
No, I think she's a spy master, and you are somebody with secrets.
A fair enough assessment of the situation, I suppose. But it seems my secrets were of interest. At least to the extent that I demonstrated my ability to spar with her. verbally.
And what is your plan now?
The Lady Redwine requires assistance.
Does she now, brother?
I am to be but another of her most esteemed servants. Failing that, should at least serve to keep my finger on the pulse of this court here assembled. And I'll look to the documents that Alistair was reading and begin sort of thumbing through them.
If Mara sees this, she'll just pick them up and hand them to him. They show you there's nothing interesting there other than talk of Dornish raiders. Have you heard about Myria?
He'll stop at that and just sort of, whatever line that he was reading, you'll see that his hand stops and only what I've heard in rumor, and rumor can be so unreliable.
I don't think it's rumor. Our uncle has apparently stolen her away from Summerhall. They've branded her a traitor. Everybody in court has already heard.
Yes, I was aware. As I was aware of your performance. I would applaud, but that seems frowned upon in court.
Apparently so. I will be sending word to the Lady Marcia to let her know that her position for now is secured. I was thinking of writing to our aunt, however, to find out what on earth her husband is playing at with our little sister.
Are we assuming there's any rationale to these actions?
I don't know, but Symon, my sister is being branded a traitor. She is still a Greenmont. I can do very little to help our house publicly if she's been branded a traitor.
He'll raise a hand. And this is really the first time he's admitting it, so he's kind of working up towards it. Our sister.
I'm not going to be able to acknowledge her as my sister if this carries on any longer. I am nothing without my reputation, Symon. That's all us women have in this world.
You forget. You are a Greenmont, even without reputation. And a Greenmont without reputation might be able to act in manners more versatile than one confined to such a husband. He'll whisper that part.
Mara kind of mirrors Alistair at hearing you're a Greenmont and kind of walks over to the window, kind of hand up on the sill, head in her hands. It's the thing, Symon, I can't be both. How can I? If my sister is a traitor and House Greenmont is falling apart, if it looks like that somehow that is a stand against the crown, how can I be both?
Indulge me, sister. Bit of philosophy, as it were. Consider for a moment your body corporeal. Your form, your shape, your dimensions were determined by the union of our mother and our father. Our father, who was Lord Lucas Greenmont. Did, in the marriage to the young oak, you suddenly expel the blood from your very body? Did your bones crack and reform, eject themselves, and then become reassembled?
Have you seen what happens to the women in this world who don't do that? That's exactly what happens to them. Except the blood doesn't get replaced and the bones don't get mended. Their reputations get crushed just as easily as horses on a battlefield crush the men they trample.
I understand the difference.
I can only play these games to help as far as I can keep claiming to be on the side of our house where it doesn't damage my marriage.
But you need not play them alone. He'll deflate at that and just sort of hold his head in his hands.
Well, you play games with a spy master. I'm cautious to get involved. There are enough secrets about our house that float around these halls already, without adding mine to their list.
I spoke in terms quite the opposite. That I might supply secrets of others to you.
And do what? Without the support of my husband, I have no power here. I am not the lady of my house. I'm a lady of my house. You'd be better off selling your secrets to Lord and Lady Oakhart than to me. Or selling them to the or giving them to the Lady Marcia.
Do you think of yourself so lowly? Do you think of our name to be in the dirt?
That's exactly what I think, Symon. Our sister has been branded a traitor. Our house has got no male heir. And the Lady Marcia still rules at House Greenmont without too much challenge right now because of the grace of, I hate to say it, the Lord Tyrell.
Then we must stoop to pick it up. Dust it off and cradle it in our arms. Now more than ever. Be devoted to your Lord husband, or pretend to be so. The truth of it does not matter. What remains, after all the dust is settled, is that which we hold dear.
And what if Alistair is what I hold dear?
Then hold him as dear as you would like. But do not deny certain realities.
She looks visibly upset, confused. I don't know what else I can do here without putting everything in more jeopardy. Not now the news has come out about Myria. So many M's.
You're welcome.
I have to be cautious with every word I say. If I make a public move, they could brand me a traitor too. We're standing in the court of our enemies. I'm sure House Tyrell has not forgotten what it was that our father did during that war, who he supported or who he moved against. If you think we have friends here, you're wrong.
We may not have friends, but we have each other. I forgot for so long. And he'll actually put his arms on his shoulder and stoop to your eye level. And I would not return if I did not know, if I did not see that we might stand together and face this as a house united. Damned if I am Lord or not. Damned if my chains still in phantom form cling to my neck. I will not forget again. Not now. Not in any of the days to come.
And neither will I, but I have to solidify my loyalty and unity to our House Oakhart. He has a temper, but he's right. My heart will always lie with our house brother. But my flesh and bone, it has to appear Oakheart through and through. That is how I gain the power to use the secrets that you give me.
Then make for me one promise. That you will use them. You may be privy to them from time to time in matters where it concerns him. But I will not have your voice be silenced by his.
He couldn't if he tried. Mother taught me that much. Now I need to go and find my husband, Symon. And she'll give you a hug and a hard stare, and then make her way probably to the training yard, because that's where she assumes Alistair will probably go to blow off some steam.
Yeah.
Symon is going to study the court documents and also pen a letter to Marcia at this point.
Yay, letters. Okay, cool.
Yay, letters.
Yay, letters. More spreadsheet nonsense. All right.
It's just the one. We haven't had one in a while. I figured we needed one.
Oh man, thank you, World Build. Destiny point for you, Symon.
Hey!
Boom. Mark that down in your character sheet, son. Thank you
Many
so
thanks
much.
to you, World Build. The second Destiny point that I've received from World Build. God damn, man, you monster!
Start spending them, mate. Mind you,
I'm saving.
we got rid of the lascivious drawback, so that's pretty sweet, man. That's helped already. Yeah,
Hell yeah,
that is awesome. Thank you, sir. Okie dokie. I'm looking at sending letters. Animal handling. Oh wait, no, it's in the Destiny thing, isn't it? Okay. Who is the letter to?
Marcia. And I think we still have a courier with us, do we not? Like a singular one that Mara encountered with Oliver's message?
So he was at the kind of caravan procession.
Oh, right.
He probably didn't stick around. He probably stuck around for a bit of bread and beer at like last night in game terms, and has probably swaned off. You go looking for him, no one knows where he's buggered off to. So he's probably gone back to Greenmont, unfortunately. Just missed the postman. So, well, luckily you can go to the Maester that we totally named as well. Maester Godric, yeah. So we can go to him. We can ask him to send a letter.
Oh, God.
To be honest, you could send it too. Because, like, I'm actually ignoring the Master of Raven's quality, and I'm saying, like, people can do it.
Would going to Maester Godric do anything more than just introduce the character? Would that like lower the DC or whatever?
He would make the test instead of you. So if you think he's got a better animal handling, then you crack on.
I'll say that's probably right. I mean, he's a Maester of Highgarden, like. Yeah. I won't mark it with any particular, like, oh, this is a Greenmont seal or whatever. No, I'm just going to stamp it and approach him with the letter. Don't recognize me, don't recognize me, don't recognize me, don't recognize me.
The easiest stamp to get hold of is the Oakheart stamp that is still in Alistair and Mara's quarters. Otherwise, it's Tyrell, and he just stamps it for you.
I'll do Oakheart, much as it pains me.
All right. So if you, OC, want to pen that letter for me, then I'll drop it in the... We have a spreadsheet. I'll drop it in the spreadsheet. And I want you to... I want him to make the test. Hooey. Okay. Apparently this is secret, so I'm going to GM roll this. GM roll.
Yeah.
How good is he? He's this good. Okie dokie. Cool. Cool. All right.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Raven. Okay, cool. Alrighty. So that's been sent. Mara, what do you anything? Did you want to do anything particular in the training yard?
She wants to find Alistair and try and talk to him.
Sure. Okay. Did you want engagement in intrigue, even a short one with one roll, or did you just want to chat? We could just roleplay.
Not just yet. If it turns into that, then maybe. But
Okay. Sure. So he is beating the living poop out of a young squire. This is not a fair fight, but he's been given a boy to train with, and he's not being particularly gentlemanly about it, and he is just knocking the kid over again and again.
Mara will walk round, so hopefully at some point he looks up and notices her as he's beating the crap out of this poor squire. She's not going to call out to him. She's just going to wait.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of, I imagine there's like a fence, and she's just kind of rested her hands upon it.
Yeah, there is a wooden fence with just 2 bars across top and bottom.
She just waits till he notices her.
Sweating, out of breath, having gone 10 for 10 with this young squire.
Is he using the sword that she gave him at their wedding?
No, he's using a training sword that's been blunted.
Okay.
Who's still got that sword tucked into his sword belt in his sheath, though. So that's on him. He finally notices you, and taking a rag from the Master at Arms. Who's that? I only want to say because I named all of these people.
Is this in case we ask you what their names were, Sam?
You know the score.
I want to say it was Gwaine? No.
Sir
Was it?
Gerald Greyfield.
Gerald Greyfield, that was it.
So taking a rag off Sir Gerald, he heads back over to you. Looks, but he's got a kind of mixed reaction, but doesn't say anything.
Can we talk for a moment? Alone?
Okay. Where do you lead him?
I imagine there's like an area where some of the weapons are kept and for like training and stuff like that. She just takes him into there, somewhere private where there isn't a bunch of people around.
Sure.
I'm sorry, Alistair. I didn't want to fight with you. I know you want me to pick where my loyalties lie. And I hope you know where they lie. Otherwise I wouldn't be here apologizing. Of course I care for my house. I'm worried about my brother. I'm worried about my little sister. I'm worried about the half-brother or sister that Lady Marcia could give birth to at any moment now. But I married you. And I thought that when you married me, you might take on some care for my house, as I care for yours.
So I'd like you to roll for me. Persuasion. And I think it's up to you whether you think maybe this is more charm, that you're trying to actually keep up the relationship, but also it could be convince, I think, if you fancy that, to actually try and convince him that you're sorry and you.
It's convinced because she's genuine in this.
Yeah, sure. And you get a bonus dice from being the marriagey thing.
Yeah. Let me just roll another d6.
Is that quality jobby? Because you spent that destiny point.
That's 21, and then the extra one, the bonus dice is 5, so then I have to try and work this out.
Oof. All right.
There's a number there.
There's enough there.
Yeah, I think it works out at like 22.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. You tell me how you would like Alistair to respond.
She wants to convince him that, she does care for House Oakhart, but she would hope that he would, in caring for her, care for not so much her house, but her family. It's not just about the house. So she kind of wants him to believe that she does care for his house and that her loyalties lie with him. But also she wants to basically hear him say, of course I care about your family. Of course I want to do something. Of course I don't want to just sit here and watch that happen to them, is what she's hoping to hear from him.
Sure. He says those things, essentially, with that good a role, he is utterly convinced. And the apology is good enough, a really tactful move that you've managed to also, underlying that, get across the fact that he also needs to kind of care for your family and what happens to even Marcia and her baby. So with a very short intrigue like that with one dice roll, the consequences are fairly short-lived, but for now he is more than happy to have figured this out with you, basically.
She'll also say, here is not the place, but there are some other things I need to tell you about what's going on here at court. I don't want to keep anything from you, Alistair. You are my husband. I'm your wife. One day you will be the head of this house. And the both of us will be wrapped up in more of this than we could ever imagine. I want to help House Oakhart, and I think I can do that. But you need to trust me, and I need to know I can trust you. We need an heir.
V, do you want to fade to black? Do you want to?
I mean, not right here, but she's making a point of there are
Okay.
There is stuff going on which could potentially be incredibly powerful for the both of us that's running in the background, and we need to solidify our future as the head of this house.
I was just thinking the way you said that, and also like
not here.
The way he's got like his blood up as well from fighting, like.
I mean, if he wants to just go back to the fancy castle, that's all good. But
cool. All right, you guys head up, and we pan away across the yard.
When do I get to roll another d6, Sam?
Yeah. Soon. Yeah, every week, according to the NHS.
We had to Google this.
How easy is it to get pregnant? Yeah. All right.
It's going to be some weird search history.
Got plenty of that for the spy game, mate. Don't you worry. Okie dokie. Then panning away, we are going to head back to the Stormlands, to Myria. Here we go.
Oof.
A storm has been following you for near a week as you head south, with flashes of lightning and the distant sound of rumbling thunder crashing through tall black clouds that crash south like huge ocean waves. You've stayed dry, as by some miracle or incredible skill, your uncle has oriented you to the foot of the Red Mountains ahead of the storm and ahead of Maekar's men. Upon this rough path, smoothed into the scrubland by thousands of footsteps over time, you see the plume of smoke ahead, and the figures of villagers and their wooden homes in the distance. Your uncle looks down at you with a knowing look. Take a chance on civilization? Or move around and slow down? You haven't eaten well in days, your uncle offers, and you can see the hunger on his face. Your stomach yearns for something hot, a hare maybe, or some slow roasted boar, smothered in gravy and caramelized onions. There's no doubt your uncle could gather food enough for the both of you given time, but the forced march has been relentless. The temptation is a little too great as Edmund walks forward, his stomach driving his feet. By the time you reach the edge of the village, he comes to his senses somewhat, and you both take position in the bank of a shallow stream and duck down to watch the activity of the village. You are still in the courtly clothes.
Mm-hmm.
We could take them from here, maybe.
Steal.
What choice do we have?
Could we barter something? I have some jewelry. We could sell it. And she's got like she's got like a ring and a bracelet, something. She wears a like a necklace, but she doesn't offer that one up. She's just the ring and the bracelet.
Yeah. He takes a look around the village. He says, "What good would these people have for this ring and the bracelet? They are simple people. If we were in a town, city, of course. But this, they would not have enough. And selling it for nothing, or for very little, would cast a lot of suspicion. It might be best that we have to work in the shadows. Might be best that we have to stay hidden. Gods, I'm hungry.
Me too. I don't know how much use I'd be. I mean, growing up at court, there's not really... Well, I wasn't exactly raiding the kitchens at a nighttime.
I was. At your age. I'm sorry. Let us have a look around.
All right. And she's gonna like duck off behind a tree and just sort of get rid of the outer layer of like finery.
Mm-hmm. What do you do with it?
Just gonna try and like stash it maybe amongst the roots of the tree, sort of away from the road, so it's not visible from the road. Trying
to find like an identifiable tree with a little nook in it that you know, like no.
It's in there, yeah.
Little art memories coming back to me. Yeah, totally. So, okay, so you do so just by the stream there. I like in terms of I'm not necessarily fit for a bit more agency for you. I'm not necessarily going to just say like, you know, Edmund kind of tells you where to go and what to do. How do you want the two of you to approach this? Did you want to skirt around the edge maybe? Did you want to like try and blend in a bit or something, or what's the approach, do you think?
Yeah, I think Myria would actually turn to her uncle and say, look, if anybody approaches us, we need a story. Why we're here. Obviously, they would know who visitors are. Obvious. You're my father.
Of course.
And you are taking me to see my grandmother because she's ill. Our horse turned its ankle, broke its leg, and we've been on foot since.
You are very good at this. Doesn't matter. You are my daughter, and we are going to visit your uncle?
Grandmother.
Grandmother.
Your wife's mother.
Okay. And our horse...
broke its leg.
Broke its leg. Okay. Alright. So presumably you're making your way, or you've got a story now, but that doesn't predicate you actually heading into the village. What did you want to do?
Yeah, I feel like the best, Myria would say, like the best way to blend in, because she's obviously not one for subterfuge, is to act as if we are just travelers, just walking through. Obviously not making a big deal of it, but just trying to act very casual as we walk in.
Sure. And the way you're dressed as well, this isn't particularly hard. I'm gonna make it like difficulty 6. I ask you for a. I am gonna make the. Let me look at your sheet. So I'm thinking that this could be. We'll mix up a little bit of the specialties here. That it could be deception. With I guess you haven't got blend in as a stealth specialty.
No.
So let's just do a straight deception. Because again, there aren't any of the other specialties there that I think would apply.
Okay, so I do have the trait of treacherous. So whenever I use deception, I add cunning to deception test results. Would that apply there, or is it more a social thing?
I feel that's more a social thing. I don't think in this particular circumstance this is really going to work.
Yeah.
This is you like walking in like without a book balanced on your head and like this is like I've seen commoners walk before. I think this is how they do it.
This is how they do it, right? Yeah. Okay, let's go. Boop. 13.
Beautiful. That is 2 degrees of success. So yeah, you quite happily slowly first with trepidation make your way into the village a little bit to have a look around. No one really pays you much attention as you walk through the centre. And there is a trodden path through the centre of this village. So you get the feeling that this could be a thoroughfare for people locally. Your uncle lingers a little bit in the centre of the village, taking a look around. Essentially, rather than like trying to figure out exactly where everything is or a map or anything, like you haven't really got. You've got like a little shrine here for the 7 towards the centre of the village. Otherwise, it will be a lot of like it's like clod housing with like wooden kind of top halves. Couple of thatched roofs. Another couple of houses dating back quite late. So they've actually, it's more of like almost like a thatched dome dating back possibly hundreds of years in a kind of first men style. Not necessarily the same wood, but patched over time, I imagine. And you get the sense that any industry that's here, so any little bit of husbandry or agriculture or weaving or anything like that, is really kind of doubled up with people's homes. There's no dedicated locations for buying food or fishing or anything like that. You know, you'll know that it's John the fisherman. You go to John's house and then you find a thing, or it's, you know, Maggie's pies. You go to get pie from Maggie or something, you know. And it's a fairly normal village at the foot of these Red Mountain range to the south. It's giant mountains looming over you in the village. You do eventually see a couple of kids running around. A boy and a girl. The girl is a little younger than you.
Okay, so while Uncle Blackmon is looking around and getting his bearings, I'm going to approach the girl.
She's playing quite rough with the boy. Brother and sister, sword fighting with sticks.
I feel like she would not interrupt straight away and watch them play for a little bit, get a little bit sad, and then say, "Excuse me."
Yeah.
I'm sorry to disturb you in your play. Is there anywhere here we could get food? Sorry, I'm with my father. We're traveling. We're quite hungry.
Food. Clot's house, and she points at one of the first men style houses. They're a little bit further back around the village.
What was their name? Sorry.
Clot.
Clot. What was your name?
I don't know. You're asking me random NPC names now.
Sorry.
Chat. What's a good Westerosi name for a young girl without noble status? Mary.
Mary. Thank you, Mary.
Another M.
Just let's keep going. M's. Let's keep going.
Founders like Miri. Like Mary. Peggy. All right. No, not quite. Yeah, Peggy. There you go. I quite like Peggy. Thanks, Tom.
I like Peggy. So thank you, Peggy. And she returned to Edmund.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to a child. Apparently, the place to get food here is at someone called Clot. Their house is up here.
Clot.
Just shrugs, as in like peasants.
Peasants. Cool. Well, he follows you to this house.
As we're walking, she just says, "You wouldn't mind doing a bit of physical labor if it comes to it for food, right?"
Who's giving the orders here? For one of the first times, he smiles in the last few days. And you both head over to Clot's house. This strange, like, almost wooden dome. It's basically all thatch, besides a small semicircular doorway with little, almost eyes on their ends, like kind of eyelet windows, kind of weaved out from the thatch. And you can smell the smoke of fish smoking. Edmund ducks a fair foot and more and looks inside and turns back to you and says, "There is no one inside." And he waits for you, and then after a moment goes in.
Okay. And Myria will slip inside too.
You, as you do, blank moment there. As you do, you see him, and he's grabbed a fish off the rack already, and half smoked, half raw, is now just chomping down on this like river trout.
I think Myria will very quietly interrupt. "We'll grab some and let's go. Let's not stay here."
And he grabs another one for you and like stuffs it into your hands. Just as he does so, just as you're about to turn away back into the village, you hear the heavy clomp of hooves arrive in the center of the village, and poking your head out, glancing straight down the little vantage point you have towards the center of the village, you see a guard or a kind of knight on horseback in a black tabard with red.
So immediately turn around and I say, "They're here. Targaryen."
Yeah, you see his whole demeanor shift, and he whips out a dagger from his belt, discards the fish down by his side, whips out another dagger, and with the blade in his hand, with the hilt pointed towards you, motions, giving you this dagger.
She just kind of takes it like, "We're not going to fight them. What are you doing? Get out of here."
If they take you, then remember to stab them more than once.
All right.
And he pushes you to the other side of the doorway, a large doorway that's just above your head height. And he stands as upright as he can against the kind of dome of the wall, and you just stand either side of this doorway. he looks, and again, so asking you, Susie, what did you want to do at this point? Did you want to stay here, or did you want to move?
I feel like staying here is probably the best course of action right now. But just keeping an eye on where this guard is. And if they start to move like away towards the other side of town, then it's like a go while they're over that way.
You hear the clop of more hooves, and 2 more horses join his, 2 more guards atop them, and they all get down. You can just about make out, just about hear them, that they are saying that they are searching for 2 runaways, a lord and young lady, and that they will be searching the village quickly. There's a little bit of dispute amongst the villagers, but they are quickly pushed aside, like, yeah, out of the way, and they're just like bashed away, discarded. And the troops start to look around the houses, working from the center out.
Do they sort of split off, or do they like move as one group?
They split off.
Okay. So can Edmund see this, or is he like relying on Myria like scoping it out?
Yeah, Myria's scoping it out.
Okay, so she's like 3, and then like they split up.
Yeah. He ducks down a little bit. He takes a look. We could go.
Okay.
And you dart in the right moment, following Edmund out of this hovel, behind another clod and wooden house. Just as on the left-hand side of that house, on the other side of it, this guard has stopped poking around inside and is moving off to one on your far left, moving away from you. Moving between house to house, you make your way to the south side of the village, having gotten some food, but not having gotten any other clothes yet. I need you to make me a stealth test, please. And this is going to be opposed by their awareness. I'm actively rolling this one as they look for you.
Okay.
You've got a bonus dice from chat.
Okay, don't I?
And you've got a +1 because Edmund is helping you.
Okay, so I'm going to use that bonus dice.
All right.
I really don't want to be found.
Sure.
Okay, and the +1. So 17. Oh.
2 6s and a 4.
Oh.
Well, hang on, you've got to drop one of those.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a bonus dice, right? Not a test die. So
yes, sorry. Yeah.
Double 6.
Double 6.
12.
13 if with the +1.
13. That's all right, mate. That's all right. I hadn't prepped these guys yet. I've got to find them in my secondary NPCs. There we go. Oh god. We are looking at okie dokie. All right. As you think you managed to get round safely to the south side of the village and jumping a goat's pen to get towards in the direction of the trodden track on the south side, down towards the south and towards the Red Mountains, just as you turn the corner, you come face to face with one of the guards. Luckily for you, behind him, Edmund's managed to slip past, and it's you that's come upon the guard. So I think I've not actually done this yet. I am going to let you take control of Edmund.
Ooh, okay.
Because I always like to also let the social characters grab a little bit of combat. So what I've done there is I'll just show to players. It's given you the stats under his description.
Okie doke. Yep, I see him.
You got that? Sweet. All right. So we're going to roll an agility test. Quickness bonus dice will apply. So that's 5, keep 4.
Okay.
And I'm going to roll his agility. All right.
Oh, he's a speedy boy.
Your uncle is the quicker Mark. So you essentially have 2 actions in combat. You can only do 1 attack action, even if it's a lesser action. You've got some funky stuff. So you can maneuver. Oh, no, it's the fighting test. Oh, attack actions. Yeah, there we go. So you can essentially kind of move and attack. You can also divide your attack up against a couple of people. You can 2-weapon attack. So if he's got an open fist with one hand, a dagger in the other, then essentially you can get +1 to the base damage because he's just like punching and knifing. He's just going for it.
Good old punch stab.
Yeah. I mean, you can try disarm at this point, and it's an attack that you resolve normally through the dagger thing you've got there against the guard's passive fighting. This is normally pretty difficult, but if you succeed, you disarm the guy. Cautious attack means that the combat defense increases by 3. You're at -1 dice to the actual test, though. You can pin. Reckless attack gains you +1 dice on the fighting test, but -5 combat defense until the start of your next turn. So,
okay. So I think I just want him to put down this guy as quickly as possible. So I'll rush up behind him and just shank the shit out of him.
All right. I could take that as a charge because that's basically like rushing him.
Yeah.
I think. So on a charge, what you can do is move up to twice your movement and make a standard attack. It's -1 dice to the attack, but it's +2 to the base damage.
Okay.
So you'd be rolling 6, but only keeping 3.
Okay.
If you wanted to do that, and that's on the dagger. So the base damage would go up to 4 on the dagger.
Okay. All right. Uncle Blackmont, don't fuck this. Let's go. 14.
Against this guy's combat defense is just 2 degrees of success.
Ooh.
Not quite 3. But with a base damage of 4 to 8, because we doubled that. Take away that. Okay. So he goes in under the armor, stabs him a couple of times. This guy audibly yelps out, not too loudly, but obviously he's just been like shanked.
Yeah, you're gonna yelp a bit.
Will turn, pulling his sword and slashing at Edmund. So this is going to be a standard attack against your combat defense. 12.
Yeah, that'll hit him.
It will, and it's only 1 degree of success. So the base damage for that will be 4.
Oof.
Take off 2 for your armor rating, leaves you 2. So if you're happy with that, take 2 off his health. Otherwise, what you can do is take an injury or a wound. The injury will soak up the endurance rank. It'll soak up 3, so it'll soak up all of that damage if you wanted it to.
He's all right. He can lose 2 HP.
Cool. All right. And it's back over to his turn.
Okay. Yeah, he's just gonna
make it a reckless attack.
Yeah.
I'll just go for it.
Let's do it, because he's desperate, right? Like, it's not...
Yeah.
Okay, so reckless attack.
So +1 dice on the fighting test.
Okay.
So you're rolling 7, keeping 4. Oh, hang on. Keeping 5, +1 dice. +1 test die, but -5 combat defense.
Okay. Well, Myria has a knife too. Anyway, so 76 keep 5.
No. Did you want to
No,
go?
right. If this goes badly, I would like that really cool moment where the kid, like someone you don't expect stabs them in the back and they're like, you know.
Have you got any destiny points?
I do.
So if you spend one, I'll let you act next.
Okay.
If he fucks it up.
Okay. All right. Let's go. 24.
1/6. So it's a crit. But it's +1 base damage.
Uh-huh.
+2 base damage. Yeah. As he's turned, Edmund flips a knife and shanks him in the neck.
Oof.
Yeah. You see, from your perspective, the blood splatter either side, the back of his neck, and the guy drops to the floor. Just thunk.
I think as he drops, Edmund will see Myria with the dagger ready, wild-eyed, almost shaking, but she was ready.
Yeah, cool. All right, he grabs. It's going to be like a corset, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a stole kind of dealie she'd be wearing.
Yeah. So in that case, he's going to wrap his arm around your waist, just under your band line, and then just off you go.
Yeah.
And you guys run for it away from this village. Symon.
Hi. So good to see you. How you doing?
Oh, man. Lord Tyrell's court is in full session as you work your way through the crowd at the back to get a view of the major lords, ladies, and lordlings representing their houses, seated near the far end of the hall, on benches either side of the great white stone hall. On the dais sits Longthorn. Next to him, his mother, and on the other side, the empty seat of his wife, Lady Cassella. Now, you wanted to set up a scene whereby you were checking out who is at court, I think, and wanting to investigate a little bit more of who you could talk to, who you could influence, that kind of thing, right?
A general sort of fact-finding mission, and seeing if I might recognize some of Desmera's weeds kind of growing.
Her vines.
Her vines, excuse me. Mine are weeds, hers are vines. Gotcha.
It's all, wine terminology. That's what I was going for anyway.
Sure.
All right. How did you want to go about this?
Well, let's see. Are all of the houses here assembled? Hightower and all the noble houses of the Reach?
Pretty much. At a glance, yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to see if there's anybody I recognize, specifically one person.
Mm-hmm.
The Lady Tamara Hightower.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You search around for a while, kind of making your way around the crowd a little. Not privileged enough to sit on the benches, but managing to get close enough to have a look through the faces. And next to a younger male Hightower, just a little younger than yourself, is the undeniable face of Tamora Hightower. Her hair is curled beautifully in the Dornish style. Her cheeks a little flush. She is wearing a beautiful Dornish gown, tailored to fit her well. And how old now is Tamora?
A little older than me, by maybe a year.
Oh.
So 26 or so, 27.
Okay. Which makes things interesting, I guess. Okay. Yeah, but she is sat with a younger relative.
Okay, wow.
Lord Hightower sits closer to the dais on a bench of councillors towards the front, of the left-hand set of benches, as he is Lord Treasurer.
Great. At this point, I would like to note the robes, or the maester's robes that I would have been wearing, are going to be tied in different fashions, so as to not sort of betray a maester's station, or at least some facsimile of it. So I think if there are courtiers among the High Towers, Symon's not going to bother. But if Temora's alone with this young relative, whoever they are, I think that he'd kind of approach rather sheepishly and just sort of, I've got the opening line.
Cool. Well, before you do that, I would like a status test, please. Reputation bonus dice will apply. This is to get to the benches to see her.
Great. Roll 2d6 as flaw.
So you roll all the dice, but you take one away, right?
Yeah.
So rolling 3, keeping 2. I think. Right?
2, yeah.
Okay.
10.
That is enough. How do you make yourself important enough for the Tyrell guards at the bottom of these bench seats?
Apologies, gents. Official business from the Lady Redwine.
It's a nice cover, and they step aside. It's awkward trying to get up the side of these benches. It's not quite cinema or theatre awkward, but they are bunched together somewhat. So
I imagine there's one that, like, one particular, like, boisterous courtier conversation that he's just kind of skirting the edge of and has to sort of squeeze past to get to the Lady Temora. And he'll just smile and straighten his collar, and he'll sort of keep a hand in front of his face as best he can, and with his head bent low, just say, "Ritzas Segiorna, Temora. Greetings and welcome, Temora."
She replies in Valyrian, half looking at you, and with your face still covered, she looks up through your fingers. Sorry, you can see that there's not quite the look of recognition yet.
I would endeavor. He'll pull out his hand and sort of straighten up. I would have endeavored to make our reacquaintance much earlier.
Her face drops. Symon?
In flesh and form.
She stiffens up a little and sits back on the bench and looks around her at the other courtiers who aren't particularly paying attention or talking amongst themselves. Apart from her younger middle teens brother who sat next to her, and asks, "Who is this, Temora?"
An old friend. And what's your name?
Give me a name. You make it up.
Man, that's a good question.
Any
chat.
Any shouts in chat?
Any shouts in chat?
Shouts in chat. Timian. Thanks, word build. Timian. Or Tommen. Tommen's the...
Yeah.
Time? No. Tommen. He's named Tommen. I'm going to write this down now, aren't I?
Yeah. Sure.
He's inconsequential enough for the GM not to have named him to begin with.
Good.
Okay, Tommen Hightower. He says, pleasure to meet you. He extends a hand.
And a pleasure to meet you as well. He'll actually sort of almost stoop down to greet him, but like shake his hand, sort of pull back. Strong grip you have there, Tommen. Be careful. There's some frail men about.
He laughs. He looks at his sister, who kind of gives him a smile, and she turns to you and says, "What are you doing here? Are you, which house are you serving?"
By technicality, I suppose that would be the House Redwine.
I thought their maester was, and she plucks a name out of thin air. Sorry, tonight's not the name for names. Sorry. It's not the time for names, but yeah, she plucks she plucks a name out of thin air.
In a capacity outside of maestership.
Oh, I see. She turns a little and she looks towards the dais as if she was to pay attention to what was happening in court.
I'll speak in Valyrian at the moment. Oh, so are we pretending to ignore each other? Is this our game now?
She's looking still at the dais, but she says, "We never had a game." And her brother says to her in Valyrian, What do you mean game? What are you talking about, games?"
Symon will turn to the younger Hightower. Many games that I'm sure you will learn at length in time.
Oh man! All right. Was there anything, Jason, that you particularly wanted to get out of tomorrow at this point? Did you want to roll anything for a kind of persuasion or deception type stuff?
He wanted to see if perhaps the patrons of the Citadel might assist someone in releasing themselves from service to that institution.
Right, so you're kind of just trying to get information out from her.
Yeah, just sort of seeing what the mood is. Are the Hightowers really as neutral as they say? Are they looking to make allies? Stuff like that.
Okay. So if you want to roll for me, convince.
Sure.
I think. This is against what would be. So I've got a young lady here, I think.
This will be just straight persuasion, because, yeah.
Let's do this then. Okay.
Wow. The literal worst I could roll.
111. Okay. So, unfortunately for yourself, you give away a little more than you'd give away to Lady Redwine, I think. And in stumbling over trying to find the right words, you actually would give away to her that this is something you want to do, not a piece of kind of idle, like, is this a thing I've heard, asking for a friend, like...
Yeah, he'll, at a certain point, I think, as he's sort of speaking in hypotheticals, he'll kind of soften at that point. Many a times and oft I wondered, what life I left behind as I donned those chains. Now I wish to make wandering reality. And I would have your help if your heart still roams with my love.
You see her soften a little. And she says, perhaps we can speak at dinner tonight or something.
He was looking for a more immediate answer. Or something. He'll tuck his arms back into the sleeves of his robes and just kind of stand. Just bow and leave.
Okay. And with Mara sat with the oak hearts here on the other side, the right-hand side of benches, you both hear a maester announced Lord Otto Merryweather. And Lord Tyrell sits atop his rose throne, upright and attentive. Lord Merryweather speaks of his stores and the delivery he owes Highgarden. For next feast, my lord, we might spare 24 boars, 3 elks, 96 of our finest miller's brown loaves. He continues to list enough for a feast for about a kind of local noble family feeding their nearest neighbours and knights. Surely not enough for the largest court in the Reach. Lord Merryweather comes to an end by saying, and 23 tons of ale. A silence overcomes the hall. Then sniggering from pockets of the nobles, both seated and behind you in the crowds, stood at the near end of the hall. Lord Leo asks, with no hint of smile or sarcasm, "Where is your bounty, my lord?" And Merryweather makes excuses, stuttering and stumbling over his words, as you hear courtiers hiss amongst themselves, "Behold our bounty," and laughing. With his excuses done for, Maester Godric announces the next lord with business today. Lord Gorman Peake. Lord Gorman stands. His bright orange surcoat almost glowing in the light that's coming through the various stained glass windows of this grand court. And he stands towards the centre of the court, almost at the foot of the dais. He speaks to Lord Leo, again, of the ability he needs to better equip his own men, to defend his own lands, the last lands remaining that he is allowed, and he leaves that barb to land. And he says to Lord Tyrell, under the laws granted us by the King's peace, I am withdrawing my tax obligations to your lordship, so that I might better equip my own men, defend my lands, and go after these arrogant Dornishmen who still think they can treat the Reach like some kind of feasting table. He turns round to the hall itself and declares that he is going on a sortie into the Red Mountains to finally quash these raiders and this raiding party that has tormented his lands and his neighbours. And he asks who would lend aid and who would go with him. And to your right-hand side, Mara, you can sense Alistair ready to stand, as 2 other lords on the left-hand side stand as well. Lord
She puts
Tarly, and
her hand on his thigh and just says, "Just wait. There are things I need to tell you. Just wait."
okay. This is going to be a convince roll.
Oh God, this is where Roll20 screws me over. Yeah, this is where Roll20 screws me over.
You can sense him about to stand, but he holds your hand under his, grips it tight, and remains seated.
She'll put her other hand on top and just squeezes in that thank you sense, and will keep her hand with his.
Lord Peake turns to Lord Tyrell and informs his lordship that he intends to leave immediately. And he walks out of the hall with Lord Tarly in tow.
At this point, I think Symon would have whispered under his breath, but like near to a house that I'll actually name the house because I know which ones were loyalists and I know which ones were traitors. So I think he would have navigated to sort of house Florent or Ashford, or actually no, House Rowan, the marshals of the North March. And he'd just sort of whisper under his breath, "Bloody traitors."
You whisper to a young girl, pretty much, who last session in court made a passionate speech for claiming the titles of her father as the last remaining Rowan. And there is a maester sat next to her, an older gentleman.
Respect for a side that lost should be afforded. Refusing tax obligation. Do they mean to weaken Daeron's claims?
I would like you... So, is this deception or persuasion?
This is incitement, and it's persuasion.
Okay. So you believe Daeron is the true king, the rightful heir?
I do.
Okay. Cool. No, that's fine.
As unfortunately pragmatic as my decision-making was, I believe him to at least have the strongest claim to the throne.
Okay. So if you can roll persuasion for me, and I would like you to apply your streetwise bonus dice.
Streetwise?
For,
okay.
Like, propagating rumor rather than, like, finding it. It's the kind of similar thing for me, though, I think.
46, keep of 3. Please, 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 please. Be better than triple ones. Mathematically, you have to be better than triple ones. Oh,
yeah.
It would be nice
roll.
if I, yeah, that would help. Boop, boop. Now be better than triple ones. 12.
Yes. Okay. The maester agrees with you, essentially. Turns to his young charge and says, "True words. This could be dangerous."
Could?
He kind of gives you dagger eyes, turns fully around, gives you dagger eyes, so just a kind of like a fuck off, not now.
And he'll take the hint. The very clearly communicated hint.
Okay. Myria.
Hello.
Your flight into the Red Mountain Range has proven even more arduous than fleeing across the Dornish marches. Climbing the first range on empty stomachs, apart from that one lonely fish, slowed your travel. But the peak of the first mountain granted you beautiful views of the dusty cream red stone that turned your pangs of hunger into pangs for home. The descent down the first range was a welcome respite from hard work on the legs, as you and your uncle zigzagged down cut paths and natural passageways in the rock. All of a sudden, in the afternoon of a particularly cool spring day, your uncle stops, pulls you against the rock, leaning out after a moment's pause to get some vantage on whatever he's seen. And then you hear it. When we were at Redgrass, they executed men by the hundreds. You, sir, executed scores yourself, I bet. You hear no reply, and the same Reacher voice continues. I hope you'll find your peace with the stranger, and your brothers don't haunt you for betraying them and their king. And a slice and a spilling of liquid on rock punctuates his sentence. Edmund turns to look at you and says, There are several men, all in arms and light armor. He informs you quietly, his hand on his dagger belt. You can feel his urge to go as he barely keeps you pressed against the rock for your safety. What would you like the two of you to do?
Is there any way that we could hide here, or is it pretty open?
I'm imagining you in a fairly narrow, in terms of the actual landscape, like cut passageway in these mountains. Just a little like crevasse that you can make your way through. So you've got to climb on both sides, but it's at least 10 feet aside. Very hard to get a grip, a good foothold on. Straight ahead will be fairly clear, you imagine. But turning back will mean backtracking for probably another day or so to get round to another like passage in the mountain.
I should say, do you think we can get past them quietly?
I do not think so.
We can't fight them.
I think they are Blackfyre men. He's got his hand on his dagger hilt.
I don't know what to do. I just want to try to speak to them. I think that will work.
He looks around again. The Reacher voice is speaking again, much the same, kind of spitting insults and incitement about betrayal and Redgrass. And he says, very good few yards out. Maybe if we move to the left, we could avoid them.
It's worth a shot.
Okay.
Deep breath.
I would like you to make another stealth test for me, please.
I'm not good at these. Okay. Nope.
Oof.
That's what I get for saying the dice has been kind to me, Ellie.
Yeah.
Well, Mary's had a good run.
F. No. Okay, yeah. So, in the first instance, you slowly and ducked down make your way out the passageway towards the left-hand side. You catch a glance on the right-hand side of several men, a couple of women as well, in fairly light, either patchy leather armors with a little bit of chain, bows, kind of readied but not drawn. And there has been a line of executions. People have been knelt down and then executed and fallen forward. and he looks like a hedge knight with just breastplate, back and front greaves, van braces, and a bastard sword. And he's on his last execution, monologuing about the red grass fields and how awful it was. And you think you have made it up until out of nowhere, behind a rock that you just did not think could hide a man, jumps a guy in shabby chain with a chipped longsword in hand, pointed at you and your uncle, and says, Now, who do we have here? And you hear someone above you climb out from like a vantage point, and you can hear the creak of a bow being drawn and pointed in your direction. And as you look, there are a couple of more men and a woman who draws a bow. You look at her, she looks at you, and she looks at your uncle. And the face of Daemon Storm
Oh, fuck.
surprises you.
Oh, shit.
And she says to the man who has held you up, "This is Lord Blackmont. And his niece? Do you want to fight your way out?
I don't think we really have a
Or
chance.
What
No.
would you like to do?"
I feel like we just surrender. Like, if we try and fight, we're dead. Oh, fuck.
Okay. You look at your uncle as he lowers his hand towards his dagger belt,
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
and then he makes a slice for the guy in front. It's taking the guy by surprise, but he parries a couple of times, and there is a bit of a scuffle and a fight before Daemon Storm launches an arrow at one of the legs of your uncle, and it skims across his thigh, taking out a chunk of his flesh, and he falls to one leg as he yelps. The dagger is tossed aside out of his hand, and you are both bound, hands behind your back, and you are dragged in front of this executioner. And Daemon steps up to him and says, "No. We're going to the king." And that is where we will end tonight's session.
Okay, so next session starts right now.
Yeah, right, like now.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I still gotta kick the shit out of Alistair. Can't we?
Oh no. Mara's got a long conversation to have with Alistair.
We've
Mara
got
has
some
made some
verbal
decisions.
abuse to heap upon this young Oakard.
Mara has made some decisions.
Yeah,
Executive decisions.
yeah.
Oof.
Juicy.
I'm never allowed to have the final scene in an episode again because it just ends with trauma for
Terrible.
Myria.
It ends horribly.
We needed a little hinty reveal, you know.
No, that was fucking great.
You just happened to be the person for it.
Oh shit.
Man, I'm wide awake now.
Just keep playing, Sam. Let's just keep playing. We don't.
No, pacing. It's very important for me. Well, that was a very enjoyable episode. A lot of talk, a lot of popcorn.
Charlie's going to be so mad when she sees the Zoom chat in a bit.
Yeah.
Did we resolve any short-term goals? I don't think anyone even spent any Destiny points. Yeah.
No. I think the only thing is I actually got a job with Dismera, which sort of, and I reached out to Tamora, and that fucking flopped. Sort of like, oh god, yeah,
So,
no, that
Jason, that that kind of thing deserves a standard intrigue. So that is a full parry of words there. So this avenue is not closed to you. I just think that it deserves more than like one roll and a shorter version of that. I'd like to devote a scene to it, so we can do that. Absolutely, that's not a problem.
But I actually like it to where it was like he thought he would be received so warmly, and then just too much time had passed.
I went to a wedding recently and spotted an ex I've not seen in years, and it's just the sinkiest feeling. Like,
you knew each other once so well, and then it just
that's just it, so well, so intimately, and then you're just like, this is super
Weird.
fucking awkward.
But
I was there with my wife, so there was
and
that too.
I think it clarifies something for some, which
is why they.
Yes, much love to Miss Webby. Please, guest soon. But I think it clarifies a lot, and we'll talk off stream. But yeah,
sure. All right. Let's have a little go around, chat a little bit about how juicy you think the fruits were today, and then also just a little quick plug of where we can find you and stuff for anyone watching. Susie, so you were back. Was that all right?
Yes. And one of Myria's short-term goals was survival, and I thought I was doing such a good job. We got some food, and then we killed a man, and I was kind of okay with that. And then we were like, we escaped, but oh no, she's captured again.
for the narrative of like learning, and for the like you say, the kind of short-term goal of like survival. Like, I don't mind if this kind of repeats a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give Myria 10 XP.
Yay. I do. I very much love this though, because she's been, even though she's been a hostage, like she's a ward, she's still grown up in a really fancy bougie house. So like to have that completely taken away from her and have to like steal and speak to peasants and stuff like that. It's just juicy, succulent fruits.
Cool.
I am adoring. But yeah, so the usual drill. You can find me everywhere. I show up on channels all the time, like just a dirty stain you can't get rid of. But also last week I was on Dragon Talk, the D&D podcast, and that should be hitting the podcast feed today or tomorrow. So if you listen to Dragon Talk, you'll hear my dulcet tones chatting to Greg Tito and Shelley Mazanoble for an hour. So check that out.
You were awesome.
Otherwise, oh, thanks.
It was awesome.
Oh, yeah, I even got a sneaky like spy game plug in there.
Yeah, I know. It's good. I appreciate it.
But,
the 10 is in the post.
Spy game, quick start, drive through RPG, get it. Yeah, if you check out my Twitter, I do have a pinned tweet that shows you where I am and what I am doing at any given time.
Like any given time? Like any second?
Yes, it's weirdly up to date.
4:28 p.m. scrubbed foot. I don't know.
8 bread.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah. Please follow Susie if you want to follow up her strange little life things at any given second.
It's weird.
Cool.
It gets weird.
Jason, I know we come to you a little bit, but how's it going? How are you feeling? And where can we find you?
I'm feeling okay. Simon's feeling just bloody fine, having clarified a few things. I'm a little frustrated because my chair was being uncooperative, but for now, I'm doing all right. You can find me a whole gaggle of places. On Mondays, you can find me over on Encounter Roleplay with Frost from Fire, Charlie, and chat. That's at 1 p.m. CST, I think, something like that. Tuesdays, you can find me either on Susanna Grace's channel this coming week for Grains of Truth, or on the Nerdsmith's official channel, DMing Final Rights, which alternates, every Tuesday. And then Thursdays, you can find me here, hopefully. Or, barring that, you can find a lovely cast and a lovely DM that you should certainly keep eyes on, no matter what, in all their endeavors and all that good stuff.
Thanks. Awesome. And Virginia, Tabletop Horde, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. That was 11 out of 10 for Juicy Fruits.
Mara's so sassy.
So sassy. You just scroll back through the Zoom chat in a bit, Sam, because there was some...
Oh, check it out.
There was literally a bit where I typed to Susie, he could have said Oakcart. I hear the wall is nice this time of year. Cold and dark and cold.
Wow.
It was just me and Susie screaming at each other in chat.
That's
Mhm.
fair.
Yeah, Mara has made some executive decisions that I'm going to talk to you about at lunch tomorrow, Sam,
Cool.
because there's going to be some stuff going down. But yeah, other than that, I am Virginia. You can find me on Twitter at Tabletop Horde. You can find me here sometimes on Thursdays if Mara is getting some screen time. Otherwise, I'm normally in chat with some juicy fruits, just typing away. You can also find me over on, to get the channel name right, Tales from the Grim, which is Greg's channel, on Sundays from 9 p.m. UK time, where Charlie is running Sky Chasers game. We're on our mid-season break, I think, this week, but we're back next week. Charlie will put it in chat because I probably get the dates wrong. Where I play a 1950s FBI investigator with Sam and Charlie and a bunch of other awesome people, and we just want Susie back. We need Betty back. And also Sundays on Sam's Spy Game playtest, which I just ran on stream for Scratticus Academy for 2 weeks. So up over on Scratch YouTube, there should, I think it's out now, if not it'd be the next couple of days, should be the two shot I did for the Spy Game, where they had to go and recover the bust of Queen Nefertiti for a German museum. So that was fun.
They were eventually disaster spies. I
They
come to
were.
understand.
I knew I'd turn them into them, Sam. It was only a matter of time.
It's you, isn't it? Yeah, but yeah,
I gave them there was a helicopter. How are they not going to be disaster spies with a helicopter involved?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're actually got a couple of week break from Sky Chasers while we take our mid-season break, and then there's a little break just after that for people, and then we're back at it. Thank you for running that 2-shot on Scratticus Academy. I didn't even have to bend your arm or anything. It was great. Twist your arm even.
It was so fun.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Awesome.
Watching it's really fun to GM, I think, because you just get to kind of set all this stuff up and literally watch as either the dominoes fall really nicely and they do everything as they should, or just watch the chaos brew, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, the Spy Game is going to appear on lots of other channels in the coming month or so, because we've been talking to a lot of different actual plays, and we're on a few of them. Luckily enough, I've managed to coax them around to playing the game. So I'm actually running the Spy Game on Encounter Roleplay on Monday night, and Charlie's going to be playing apparently. This is literally the first I've heard, but awesome. And then the week after, it's a 2-shot. So those 2 Mondays, I'll be tweeting about it in Soul Encounter Roleplay. So if you've got us followed, then definitely check it out. And then we'll be on the likes of Pro Restart's channel, even It Me JP. So the roleplay guys as well will actually be playing. I'll be running that. So there'll be loads of cool Disaster Spy juicy fruits. So come and pop by, yell juicy fruits at them, make them confused. I would fucking love that. And we're launching the Kickstarter again, as I said at the top of the stream, on the 2nd of July. So keep your eyes peeled, but your lips sealed about all that. That's not true. Tell everyone about this game, because it should be awesome. If you want a bit more information, you can check out on my YouTube channel, which is somewhere. Here we go. If you check out the playlist for this game, then you'll be able to link up to some of the Spy Game videos that we've been doing for some of the beta testing with Bravo team, who was Virginia, Charlie, Oz, and Herm was even doing a bit of it as well towards the end for the recent bit.
Known as the Disaster Spies.
Yeah, officially the Disaster Spies. There's also a video from last week I did, which went and covered all of the classes and all their class features and stuff. So if you've got 3 hours to kill and you just want to hear me talk about character classes, then there's that. There's also the quick start that's available for free right now on drivethrurpg.com. Just look for the Spy Game quick start and we'll come up. Check that out. It's got a preview of the rules, pretty much most of the core rules, some pre-gen characters of every single class, level 3, and it's got a whole 3-act adventure that you can try out, so you can actually get with your mates and try out the game before we go to Kickstarter. So please do check it out, because it's our first Kickstarter, and I'm totally not nervous at all. It's all going to be great. No, it is. I'm really excited too. So Thank you everyone for watching. We're live here for After the Fire every Thursday from 4 p.m. Eastern or 9 p.m. UK time, and then maybe after the fire on a Monday evening, depending on whether Susie wants to chat about it or not.
I'm gonna scream this Monday, 8 p.m. BST on my channel. We will do some after the fire, and there will be words.
All right, I might be there. I might not. I might be like frantically prepping for encounter. So we'll see. Let's think what else. Any final little announcements? Just follow us, please. You can find me at RPG Webby on Twitter and pretty much anywhere else on the internet. You can find the Spy Game at Black Cats Gaming at blackcatsgaming.com. There are 2 cats, blackcatsgaming.com, or you can follow Black Cats on Twitter as well. So we are about to raid Scraticus because they had the Spy Game on, and they're an awesome little channel. So that's it for us, folks. We'll see you next time. Farewell.